Happy Thanksgiving, Americans, and happy Thursday, everyone else. I don't know why I'm making a video today, but I felt like it. This is just an interesting quirk with how Xenoblade 1 was made that might also serve to explain why Definitive Edition looks a bit different, and why Shulk has looked different almost every time he's shown up in something outside his original game. Basically, the reason is that Xenoblade Chronicles 1 did not have a character designer. There was no person whose art style the developers directly used to figure out how the characters were going to look when they showed up in the game. Now, that doesn't mean it didn't have concept artists designing what the characters looked like, and they must have obviously had written descriptions from Takahashi or someone else higher up on the development ladder, but there was no character designer. There were costume designers, however, in order to design what all the different armor sets would look like, but these people's art styles were not used for the actual in-game models. In fact, if you take a look at any of the concept art of characters in their different costumes, you see that they look like a completely different art style than the one used in the official art and the actual game. If it looks familiar, it's because someone who worked on Final Fantasy Tactics was one of the costume designers, hence why they don't look too out of place in one of those games. So what about the official art then? Who drew that? I'm not 100% sure if there's an actual concrete answer for one person doing it other than air quotes Monolith Soft art team, but in order to make the official art, what they actually did was take the models, which were made by the modelers without any direct input from the concept artist because there wasn't a character designer, and then they used renders of those models and painted or drew or whatever they did over them to make this official art. So, while you might think that's kind of unfortunate that the official art we've gotten for Definitive Edition is just renders of Shulk and Fiora, well, they're not actually too far off the mark. The original official art of Shulk and Fiora was just renders, but it was renders that had been drawn on top of. Now, I really like the style they chose to draw over the renders with, and I do wish the Definitive Edition assets were drawn over renders or drawn art entirely separate from renders, and not just renders of the models. But I'm thinking that the fact that renders of the in-game models which weren't drawn based on a concept artist is another one of the reasons why Definitive Edition characters look a bit different than in the original game, aside from obvious technical improvements or wanting to actually change the art style. Because any art of, we'll just use Shulk as an example because he's the easiest one, that wasn't based on a model render looks a bit different too. For example, look at this piece of Shulk and Fiora that was drawn by Kunihiko Tanaka, character designer for Xenogears, some Xenosaga, Xenoblade X, and a couple characters including Shulk and Fiora in Xenoblade 2. Their faces look rounder, shorter, and less pointed than they do on their models and in the render art. Also, this render of Shulk, which is awesome, but was used for one tutorial screen and nothing else for some reason. Again, his head looks shaped more like he does in the Tanaka art, even in the concept art, the costume concept art, and in Definitive Edition. So, what I'm guessing is, just because of technical limitations when modeling the human characters, the amount of polygons they had to play with caused them to be unable to curve the characters' chins as much as they'd like, which led to the faces being a bit longer and pointed, and that carried over into the official art that was drawn from renders of the characters. So, going back to what they were originally intending is why Definitive Edition characters have rounder, shorter faces. I could be completely making things up, but I'm slightly inclined to believe that I'm correct, because if you look at the original trailer of Xenoblade 1, the Monado Beginning of the World trailer, the human models seem to be a bit higher in polygon count than in the finished game, probably because technical limitations they didn't realize until later in development. And if you look at Shulk, you'll see that his face is indeed more rounded than it is in the final game. So yeah, I'm guessing that it was actually just technical limitations of the Wii that led to characters looking the way they did in the original game, and either they're trying something new that they couldn't do before, or they're trying what they were originally trying to do in Definitive Edition. And that's all I got. Goodbye.